All right, so check this out. Some of you are thinking that you need 3 or 4 or 5 customers to get your freight broker business started so that you can start generating some cash. But what I want you to know today is you just need 1. Now, of course, you want to have some diversity amongst your customer base, but what we're talking about here is getting started. And what you need to start is 1. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you in this video how you can make $10,000 per month off of just that 1 customer. So stay tuned. All right, so now before we get started, I want to make sure that we take care of a few very important things. I'm from the camp that believe that if you don't ask, there's a very good chance that you won't receive. So I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to ask that if you would hit that like button, make the like button turn blue. Does a whole lot for my channel, helps me to get seen by a larger viewing audience, so I certainly would appreciate that. Also, if you want more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, and then hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified every time I release new videos. Now let's get into the business. When we look at the big picture, making $10,000 per month as a freight broker is really not a whole lot of money. If you move 50 loads per month and you make on average of $200 net per load, you've made $10,000 in a month. The more load opportunities you have, the more chances you have to make more and more money. Now, what I'm going to do to make this simple, to alleviate any confusion, is I'm going to break this down into 2 parts. In the first part, I'm going to talk about what I do and how I go about building relationships with shippers to start out moving $1,000, then $5,000, then $10,000 with just 1 shipper. And then I'm going to show you exactly what a shipper like that looks like. So if you're watching this video, I think it's a safe assumption to say that you probably haven't figured out just yet how to consistently generate income in your business, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 per month with 1 customer. So how I would suggest that you use this information, or really any information for that matter, is use it cafeteria style. Cruise the line, see what's available, take what it is that you think that you can use, and try it out. If it works for you, keep it. If it doesn't, discard it. Because at the end of the day, what I'm sharing with you here is what has worked for me. Doesn't necessarily mean that it'll work from you, because there's different ways to get to the same result, and you have to figure out what works for you. Okay, so we want to start off with the thinking of how do we differentiate ourselves from the competition? Because the one thing that we want to always be aware of is that when you're talking about the freight broker business, you want to show how you're different from the competition. We want to avoid being like everybody else. That's a key thing. So what we start off with is we identify what our service is. You might be surprised to know that most people just sit down and say, hey, I'm going to start calling shippers. But what exactly do you do? What value do you have to offer the customer? That's very, very important, because you have a lot of different Joe Blows calling and saying, hey, can we help you move some freight? So what is different about you? How do you differentiate yourselves from the competition? That's what we're going to talk about here. We base our difference around 3 very critical things. So when I'm thinking about building a service that has value, that my shippers can see the value in, I'm going to start with 3 R's, and I'm going to build my service around these 3 R's. The first one is responsive. Remember, we want to be different than everybody else. When shippers send us emails and they're requesting information, whether that's information on loads that are already moving or that's requesting information on a new rate request, I want to respond in a timely manner. I want to let that shipper know, hey, I need some more information, or I've received the information and I will be responding with a quote here shortly. That way they know when they send us an email, they're going to get a timely response. That's very, very important. Build your business around being responsive. Next, we're going to talk about reliable. Being a reliable service. You are saying, hey, I am going to make sure that your loads get picked up and delivered on time. So I want to deliver on my word. I've said I was going to move the load for X amount of dollars. Well, when it comes down to that load movement, I want to move it for the amount that I said that I would move it for. I want to go back and then ask for the shipper more money because I made a mistake. I want to give them a reliable quote that they can depend on, and then that's a service that they can appreciate. Next, we want to look at and take a look at being responsible. Remember, we're building a service here. Responsibility. Let's take a look at that. Being responsible for your shipper's freight. Sometimes you're going to have freight in excess of $35,000, and you're taking responsibility of this shipper's freight to say, I'm going to make sure that it gets from point A to point B. And I'm going to make you aware of what goes on as that freight moves. I'm going to keep you in the loop. Not only that, I'm also going to make you aware of what you're spending on any freight that moves with us. Every week you're going to get a report, an Excel spreadsheet that breaks down and shows you exactly what you're spending in that lane. That way, that shipper has all of the information that they need as it relates to that lane, and they are more likely to continue to work with you than it is that they'll go somewhere else. So it's all about taking responsibility, being responsible, reliable, and responsive when it comes to the shipper's freight. You're going to start to build a more trusting relationship, and as you build that trust, they're going to give you more freight opportunities. Now, that doesn't come automatic. You have to ask for those opportunities. And one of the best times to ask for more opportunities to move more of that shipper's freight is when you do something good, and especially if they recognize that you've done something good. Sometimes we think that, oh, because we've done something good and we're moving freight, that the shipper will just automatically start to give us more freight. And usually that's not the case. The shipper gives you usually what you ask for if they notice that you can handle it. If you're moving freight and you're doing well with that freight, they'll give you more freight if you ask for it. That's how you move from starting to move $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 in a shipper's freight, because the more responsibility that you start to take care of and you do well with, the more responsibility you'll earn as you start to ask for more of that responsibility. Remember, this is a value-based business, so you have to determine what your value is. What value do you bring to the table? And be able to express that. How we express that is through these things: responsiveness, reliable, and being responsible. Now, you have to look at yours and decide how you or what you can deliver on, and make up your own 3 R's, or whether you have the 3 B's or whatever it may be. You have something tangible that you're building your business on. All right, now something that's going to directly affect your bottom line, not only going to affect your bottom line, but will start to affect your relationships with carriers as well, is how well you bid lanes. Now, of course, bidding lanes will be critical to your success as a freight broker. A lot of times what we do as freight brokers, especially when we're new, is we go in and we bid a lane, and we're making decent profit on that lane. And then what we do is we start to get a little nervous, and we start to say, oh, I'm going to cut the lane. I'm going to give the shipper a better price so that they'll look upon me more favorably. But what I want to let you know today is, don't waste your time trying to give shippers pricing, giving discounts, because what happens is when you give the big discounts, you get the opportunity to move the load, but you aren't making any money. And then when you don't give the discount, you don't get the load. So don't start that game of trying to provide big discounts to your shippers thinking that's going to get you in more favor with them, because most times it won't. Make sure that you're pricing loads for, number one, your carrier can make a decent profit, and number one also so that you can make a decent profit. Because if you're not making profit, you won't be in business for long. That is for certain. And also, one of the things that I did was I took a mixture of contract rates and spot rates. And when we say contract rates, what we mean is you're basically taking a contract with a shipper to run that lane at set amount for X amount of time. Usually that's 12 months. So you want to make sure that that lane is priced correctly, because you're going to need some flexibility. Fuel may get out of hand during that time period. Different things may happen, so you want that lane priced so you have some room in it so that you're still making money even when times may change a bit, or at least you're not losing money. So contract rates is okay to take those kind of rates, in my opinion. I actually like contract rates because that gives me tendered lanes that I'm working every single week, because we're contracted for those lanes. But I also like spot rates, because now I have the chance to go in and give a last minute rate. And last minute rates are usually going to be higher than a rate that you got a week or two out. So I like spot rates in the sense that I have some flexibility as far as how I can move the rate. So now you might say, hey Brandon, what came of you nurturing a relationship with the shipper? And I would say good question, but what actually came of that is after I had gone out and met with the shipper, get to know a little bit more about him and what exactly they do, he extended an opportunity for me to bid on what we call a drayage contract. Look that word up to get more familiarized with exactly what it is, but as a drayage contract, we had an opportunity to bid on over a $200,000 contract, and guess what? We won the contract. And not only was that a win for us because it allows for consistent income, we don't have to worry about where the next load is coming from. It also was a big win for the shipper because they had a problem lane with this drayage contract. They had to get somebody to service that lane, and they were having a very difficult time of doing it, which is why shippers have brokers. Because what we did is we came in and we found a carrier that would service that lane. That carrier was DD&T Transport out of North Carolina. We got them in there to service that lane. They did it for over a year, and we made some really good money in that lane. So the whole idea is being able to put yourself in a position to get to know what's going on with your shipper so that you can bring solutions to the table. But if you don't know what's going on, if you're not talking to the shipper, if you don't have that relationship, they're willing to tell you more about what's happening in their business, you would never know that they had a drayage contract. So we want to get more familiar with what's going on with our shipper, and we do that by nurturing those relationships. So another thing that I think is going to help you immensely when it comes to getting from $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 in freight per month was to realize when it was time to cut the ties with a shipper, because every shipper is not going to be worth your time. One of the good indicators that a shipper is not worth your time is if you get a shipper to send you loads and they already have prices on them. Now, when they already have prices on them, that means that that shipper is probably not willing to move a whole lot on those prices, and that usually indicates that there's not going to be a whole lot of profit in it for you, because shippers don't price loads so that brokers can make profits. Brokers must price those loads so a broker can make profit. So if you see a shipper starting to send you loads and they're already priced, that's a good indicator that, hey, I'm going to have to look at this really closely and to see, hey, if I'm able to make money, that's okay. But if I'm not making money with this, I might have to go ahead and cut this relationship. Because sometimes we spend unnecessary amounts of time focusing on shippers that we're not making any money with. We got to give that time to the shippers that we're making money with. There's something called a Pareto principle. And what it says is that 20% of your customers will be basically responsible for 80% of your income. So we got to get to those 20% of our customers. So what does a shipper look like that you can make $10,000 per month with? Well, first of all, what I want you to know is you shouldn't necessarily be looking for characteristics right now for shippers. What you should be looking for is shippers that are willing to work with you. Then you can go back and examine what the results were and figure out, hey, is this worth moving forward with? But right now, don't worry about the characteristics. I still am going to share with you what a $10,000 per month customer looks like, because that's a part of this video, but don't focus on that. Now, a $10,000 per month customer that I am currently working with is a $50 million a year customer in revenue, 50 million in annual revenue, okay? Now, when you look at size, that's probably a medium-sized customer, because they also have about 700 to 1,000 employees. So we're talking about a medium-sized company here. Now, that doesn't mean all $50 million companies you're going to be able to make $10,000 per month with. You have to go in and explore that relationship and see if the capacity is available for you. Now, when it comes to Distro Centers, this particular company has a total of 3 main Distro Centers that they're constantly shipping freight out of. So, of course, that says there are opportunities there. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you is that, is it a regional or is it a nationwide shipper? This one is a nationwide shipper. So they're shipping freight, refrigerated freight, all over the nation. So this will give you some idea of what a $10,000 $1,000 per month customer look like? But again, don't necessarily look for that right now. Explore the relationship, and then you can examine it and decide whether or not you want to move forward. So in quick summary, what we just talked about, number one was identifying our service, making sure that we understand the value so we can articulate that value to our customers. Then we talked about bidding lanes, making sure that we're pricing lanes correctly so that we can make profit in those lanes. It's all about you making a profit, you being able to stay in business. If you don't make profits, you don't stay in business. Then we talked about at some point, we're going to be nurturing that relationship with our shippers, and we're going to request an in-person meeting. The whole purpose for that in-person meeting is so that we can get to know our shipper better. And of course, the whole purpose of that is so that we can get more of that shipper's freight. I'm going to put a name with the face when we do that meeting. So if this video helped you to establish what is possible for you, to discover what's possible for you, then great. Now it's about taking that information and executing on it, because knowledge in and of itself is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So go ahead and start to apply that knowledge, and then you can see your business start to grow from $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 per month. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. If you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, check out my free 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works, link in the description. And if you want to learn more about how you can get freight on demand, you don't want to continue to wait for shippers to send you freight, check out my free video titled Stop Waiting for Shippers to Send You Freight, Do This Instead. So until the next time, see you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.